Most directors think HMRC problems start when you can't pay. They don't. They start the moment HMRC decides you're non-compliant. And in 2026, HMRC is sending more demand letters and having more people knock doors than ever before. Now, I want you to picture this. You open the post or your accountant forwards you an email with a letter. It looks formal, it looks serious. And the wording is very clear. You must pay immediately. Failure to act may result in enforcement. And this is the letter that makes directors panic. But it's a bit most of you guys don't understand. The letter doesn't mean HMRC suddenly noticed you. It means they noticed you a while ago and you've now reached the stage where they're going to stop asking nicely. Now in this video I'm going to explain why that HMRC letter is coming, what it actually means, what HMRC is deciding behind the scenes about your business, and the mistakes that directors make when they receive that letter, and how to stay in control before it escalates. Now, why do you think HMRC is demanding money now like never before? Well, listen, let's be clear. HMRC doesn't randomly send demand letters. They arrive when triggers stack up. Now, the most common triggers are, unpaid VAT, late submissions, not paying PAYE, corporation tax arrears, consistent repeated penalties, consistently missing filings, or you've set up a time to pay arrangement and you failed the time to pay arrangement. Each one of it might not trigger action, in isolation, but together they're going to sort of flip you from cooperating to, listen, we need to go for this company and get into recovery mode. So when HMRC sends you a demand letter, they've already decided one thing. You are now a collection risk. You're not a customer. Now, the reason why this is happening in 2026 is, listen, the revenue's under a lot of pressure. They need to get money in quicker, reduce that massive debt burden. They've got to sort of show that the investments that they've made in enforcement are bringing more money into the system. So nowadays, things escalate sooner. Something that might play out over 12 months plays out in 6 now. They don't tolerate delay. Their language that they're using with businesses is harsher. It's like the letter you're getting today is not emotional, it's procedure. And what I've noticed personally is, in the past, you could almost, if you were giving HMRC something, you could sort of push them down the road a little bit. That stopped. They are more aggressive than ever. Now, by the way, listen, if you're behind with HMRC and you need some advice, go to the comment section below. There's a link at the top. If you put your details in there, one of my team will call you today. With the #1 on Trustpilot, we offer free independent advice, no strings, no obligation, okay? I can almost guarantee you a better night's sleep today if you get in contact with us, okay? So, let's talk about what HMRC have already done before the letter gets in your doorpost. Let me spit my teeth out. Now, this is a bit that sort of catches directors out, because by the time you get a demand letter, HMRC will have reviewed your payment history, they will have cross-checked filings, they will have flagged anomalies, and they would have assessed the recovery risk. And they've basically selected the next enforcement step. And what they're quietly asking, this is, if you want to put yourself in HMRC's position, this is what they're thinking. Does this company pay late? Are they engaging with us? Are they speaking to us? Are the directors still drawing money? Is this business viable? Okay? Now, what I want you to think about here is, this letter that you've got, maybe today, it isn't the starting part. It's the middle part. You are getting towards the end of the debt collection line. Now, there are different types of HMRC demand letters. They don't all mean the same thing. And this is what I say to people, is when you're getting them demand letters, send them us, because we can sort of look at them, understand the language, and sort of give you an idea of where you're at. I mean, #1, you've got general payment demand letters. They will demand immediate payment, and they'll include bold language, short deadlines, warning about enforcements. They're designed to give you a kick up the backside to prompt action. Then you've got pre-enforcement warnings. These will mention debt collectors. They'll talk about control of goods. Mega important for a business owner. HMRC are taking control of goods more now than ever before, okay? And it's basically HMRC saying, we are preparing the next step, and we're going to be on your doorstep taking control of your assets. Then you've got the statutory demand warnings, okay? These are rare, okay, but they're deadly. And they'll usually say this is a formal demand. Failure to pay may lead to insolvency action. And at this stage, listen, this is a code red for anyone who receives one of those. You've got to pick up the phone to someone quickly. Now, the mistake is people stop picking up and opening these brown letters from HMRC. Or they open them and they think them all the same, and they'll sort of file it in the very important filing cabinet, which is normally the bin. Some you can manage. Some of these letters are, okay, yeah, you've got a bit more time. Some are going to cause you huge problems and going to escalate immediately. Now, there are lots of mistakes that I see directors making when these letters arrive, and this is where people go wrong. Mistake number one sometimes is actually panic paying it. I know that sounds crazy, but you know, you get the letter, you pay it, you use all your working capital, you miss your payroll, and essentially paying them immediately has sort of forced you down to insolvency. Like paying HMRC without a plan can cause more problems. And I'll come to that in a little bit later. Listen, mistake two is you ignore it altogether. But if you don't speak to HMRC, you're not engaging. Goodwill's going to go. And it's going to escalate. If they don't hear off you, you're just going to go through this collection process. Mistake number three is agreeing to fantasy payment plans. You know, you ring up HMRC, say, I want to pay you. I owe you 100 grand, I'm going to pay it in 6 months. Looks good on paper, collapses in weeks, okay? And all that's going to do is trigger harsher action. Because the minute you fail on a time to pay arrangement, there's a good chance HMRC are just going to wind you up. And mistake number four is to try and just to fix that alone, okay? A lot of people will ring HMRC out of fear, or they're dealing with an enforcement agent in their business. Listen, HMRC are trained. You're not. You're stressed out of your head. You're not speaking properly. You just want them out of your business. And that causes an imbalance. It's not a level playing field, right? Listen, this is what you should do. And this is what you should do the minute that it lands, right? Step one, slow it down. Don't panic. Look at things as they are, not worse than they are, right? You want to get a list of all your liabilities, what you've got to pay out, what do you expect coming in. Like a rolling 13-week cash flow is mega important to make better business decisions. And do not promise something to HMRC that you can't deliver. And step two, I want you to understand what is HMRC asking for here? Which tax, which period, which deadline, what enforcement's been mentioned. You know, you really need to understand where you're at with HMRC, okay? And step three, assess the viability of paying this honestly. Like, first of all, loads of businesses owe HMRC money. And it's not necessarily a reason to appoint an insolvency practitioner, okay? Listen, insolvency is can't pay your debts on time, so can't pay HMRC, you're insolvent on a cash flow basis. Liabilities are more than your assets. But realistically, do you think your business can recover, okay? Or are you literally kicking the can down the road? Are you delaying the inevitable, okay? Because HMRC will respond very differently depending on how you answer that question. Step four, you've got to engage properly with them. If the business is viable, set up a time to pay arrangement that's realistic, okay? Use accurate numbers, be honest with them. You'll be able to push HMRC arrears out, in some cases 3 or 4 years. It's not for everyone that, right? if you've never paid a bill on time, your compliance is dog dirt, they are not going to give you 4 years, okay? But they'll always give you 12 months, I believe, okay? Got to be open and honest with them. And when you're speaking to HMRC, you want to be going there with numbers that you understand. Again, you don't promise something that you're never going to adhere to. And listen, if the business isn't viable, stop digging. Protect yourself. Choose a controlled exit. And that might be administration, might be a CVA, might be a liquidation. And you've got to protect yourself in this position. Listen, if you can't pay HMRC, you're clearly insolvent. If you've got no hope of recovery, you're going to end up in an insolvency scenario. So, like, stop making big drawings out of the business. That is going to cause you huge issues with your director's loan account that you're going to be personally liable for. You know, avoid taking on personal guarantees at this stage if you've got no hope of recovery. You're turning business debt into personal debt. And I say, listen, there are times where you can get a loan to pay off the VAT that you've personally guaranteed, and it's a good idea. But in most scenarios, it's a bad idea. If you don't believe this business is going to recover and you take a 50 grand loan that's personally guaranteed to pay the VAT, you've just made that VAT bill a personal debt. Now listen, if you get this stuff wrong, okay, if you mishandle that HMRC letter, enforcement action will escalate. If they wind you up, your bank account will freeze. Assets can be taken from your business. And at this stage, HMRC aren't saying, well, they're not asking anymore. They're acting and they're telling you. Now, your HMRC letter isn't coming because you are unlucky. It's coming because the system's faster now. And most directors are still working on old assumptions. That letter doesn't mean it's too late, but it does mean time matters. If you're a UK director and HMRC letters are piling up, your tax arrears are growing, cash flow's tight, or you're worried what your next step might be, speak to us, pick the phone up. We'll explain what that letter means, we'll tell you where you stand, we'll help you deal with HMRC, and we'll help you choose the best path forward. So, listen, if you've enjoyed this video, I've done a video on how you set up a time to pay arrangement. And that's where you speak to HMRC and you get to stretch your arrears over a longer period of time. That video will tell you exactly what you can do, what you can't do, and at the end of it, you'll be able to pick up the phone to HMRC yourself. Thanks for your time.